Depression in the Workplace by Jennifer Campbell. According to the Mayo Clinic, depression is a mood disorder that causes a persistent feeling of sadness and a loss of interest. It affects how you feel, think, and behave and can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. Depression can affect every area of wellness if not treated. Those areas of life that were once important to a person and that they were once healthy in can quickly become non-existent. The illness can present many challenges, but there are things people can do to manage their symptoms and stay well at work. We're going to be looking at depression through three interdisciplinary lenses: science, business, specifically human resource management, and humanities, specifically religion and art. In science, we'll talk about how MRIs can notice a difference in the brain of someone with depression and someone without depression. We'll also look at how neurons communicate with each other and how the brain produces levels of neurotransmitters that keep everything going: our senses, our learning, our movements, and our moods. And once those levels are disrupted, that's when the mental illnesses happen. Through the business lens, we'll talk about the symptoms of depression in the workplace, and how I, as a human resource manager, will be able to notice these and what I can do about them. Some of the symptoms that we'll talk about are decreased productivity, lack of morale, lack of cooperation, accidents due to safety risks, absenteeism, alcohol and or drug use, and frequent statements about being tired all the time. In 1990, depression was ranked as the fourth most common disease and is on track to become the second most common by 2020. At any one time, 1 in 20 employees will be experiencing depression, and this will have a dramatic effect on the workplace. After I graduate in a few months, I would like to work as a corporate human resource manager, and with depression being so prevalent in the world, never mind the workplace, I would imagine that I'll encounter one, if not a few, employees struggling with depression. I actually read on somebody's discussion board recently that they had to talk an employee out of suicide. So if that one person has done that and hasn't been in the field human resources that long, I can imagine that at some point that may be me as well. It may be that through the recognizing the symptoms and the behavior surrounding the disease, that could be the catalyst that allows them to get help and potentially save their life. It could also save the company money, which is one of the big roles of human resource management. Clinical depression has become one of the costliest diseases. If untreated, depression can be as costly as other prevalent diseases, such as heart disease or AIDS, to the U.S. economy. It can cost us over $51 billion in absenteeism from work and lost productivity, and $26 billion in direct treatment costs. If treatment is sought, it does have an 80% success rate. But unfortunately, more than 2 in 5 employees in the United States have no workplace support programs available that they can get help with at work. So it would be my role as an HR manager to either create a support program, or if the company already has them, to make them widely available and known to all employees without fear of repercussion or judgment. By ensuring that these problems were utilized, it would help with the treatment of the disease as well as cutting down on the costs because they would have sought treatment. Also, I'd want to be up to date on the rules and regulations of my company regarding short-term disability. Many times, patients who are diagnosed with depression end up having to take time off from work in order to deal head-on with the issue, as they can't function normally in the workplace. Many times, the workplace is a source of stress, and stress is a trigger of depression symptoms. If this is the case, employees who are employed at companies that have this type of insurance, they need to be able to work with me as a human resource manager to figure out their leave, their pay, etc. Knowing the laws surrounding the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, it would be helpful to know if the need should arise. One of the most important things for me as a manager of human resources would be educating other managers in the workplace about depression, and as well as noticing the signs and how to get an employee help if necessary. I want to be available to employees as a resource on how to get help if they don't know where else to go. Um, I would also want to support them with special accommodations if necessary, based on those ADA guidelines. We'll also be talking about humanities, including religion and art, um, and how the people in Christian church circles don't necessarily believe that it's a real disease, and that oftentimes it's viewed as a sin, and that makes people not want to deal with it. We'll also be talking about Robin Williams in the art section of humanities, who unfortunately committed suicide on August 11th, 2014, due to his deep depression. Many Christians did end up calling him selfish, ignorant, and a bad person for taking his life, and that cast Christians in a bad light, but also brought to light that depression is indeed a real disease, and that even people who seem like they're well can still be struggling with this deep down inside, and that it is okay to get help. Depression is a terrible disease that does affect millions of people with no regard to age, race, or religion. It can wreak havoc on people's daily lives as well as the families who are walking alongside them. If left untreated, it can lead to destroyed lives, families, and potentially a life taken. Hopefully, one day science can find the root cause and prevent it from happening so that people are not plagued with such a horrendous issue. Thank you.